Welcome back everyone to our Pokemon Road to 100 series, where our goal is to reach a streak of 100 or more in the Pokemon Emerald Battle Tower. Um, Hopefully everyone is having an amazing day whenever you're watching. So before anything else, I'm pretty sure the thumbnail already spoiled it, but we have completed our goal of reaching a streak of 100 with our very first team. This is something I didn't think I'd be able to do when starting my YouTube channel. It always seemed so out of reach because when I used to play Emerald, I never got more than like a streak of maybe 30 or 40. But to reach 100 for the first time, it's insane to me because, I finally did it. And with shiny Pokemon nonetheless, these three Pokemon I shiny hunted on this channel. I'll leave a link in the description to those videos. And I really had in mind to choose starters for this team as a symbolic gesture to the start of our Battle Frontier journey. These three Pokemon really mean a lot to me. Venusaur and Charizard being the first two shiny Pokemon I hunted on this channel, and then Swampert is just cool. Looking back on this run, there were a lot of close calls, a lot of misclicks, but we reached our goal of 100 wins, and I couldn't be happier. When going into this challenge, I expected to probably be on like attempt 10 plus or something because of how notorious the Pokemon Battle Frontier is for being difficult. I didn't think I would reach my goal in the first 3 attempts, but I'm glad that I did, and I did learn a lot during this challenge, like what's in the battle tower, how to outplay the AI, or optimal choices. In previous videos, I did say that I didn't want to use spreadsheets that show you what Pokemon are in the tower or their movesets, and I also didn't want to use damage calculators. And that's because I wanted my first experience reaching a streak of 100 to be as authentic as it could be. More so to have that feeling that I had when I was a kid while in the Battle Frontier, and just having that level of difficulty that the main game doesn't provide. But going forward, I probably will start looking at spreadsheets and using damage calculators. But for this first run, I just wanted it to be 100% vanilla, just blind. So do expect more accurate predictions and choices in coming runs. Now I want to talk about some changes that I did make to my team since the last time. So really, there was only one change, and that was on my Swampert. Now, originally, I only swapped out my first Swampert for the second one because I found that having Surf on my Swampert really wasn't as beneficial as I thought it would, because Earthquake pretty much did what Surf could do, but better. And now this other change that I did was eventually, I think around round 14, I swapped out Icy Wind for Ice Beam. My thought process for having Icy Wind on Swampert in the first place was to use it on Pokemon that could outspeed my Charizard, since Charizard is my fast sweeper. Because I didn't want anything taking out Charizard before I had the chance to actually make use of it. And most of the time, like 99% of the time in this battle tower, I almost never found myself using Icy Wind or being able to use it effectively, and mainly because of the choice band lock, and also because I really didn't get much damage out of it, even though that wasn't my intended purpose for using Icy Wind. I really just wanted the speed drop, but I never had a safe option or switch in to use Icy Wind. So I decided to use Ice Beam instead on Swampert in round 14 because I found myself being really high up in my streak, and I realized that I would need more power instead of never using Icy Wind, and that was the logic behind it. Funnily enough, I didn't even get to use Ice Beam, but um, that was my logic for doing that one change. Besides that, the whole team stayed the same. Venusaur, like I've said a lot of times before, it is perfect. Its IVs might be pretty bad, but its moveset and its item, it just makes the perfect stall Pokemon. It can outstall almost any situation perfectly as long as I don't miss with Leech Seed or Toxic. Um, I didn't expect my Venusaur to be as good as it was. It really is the underdog and MVP of this team and streak. There were so many times when I thought I was going to lose because I lost my two main attackers, being Charizard and Swampert. But Venusaur clutched up and really just stalled out my opponent. So I'm very thankful that I got my Venusaur perfect to the T on the first go around. I never had to make any changes to it. So I'm very proud of this Venusaur, and it's my favorite Pokemon that I own. Um, and Charizard. Now, Charizard went through several iterations. First, I wanted to use a Dragon Dance set, but since Dragon Dance is an egg move, there was no way for me to get it on a shiny, soft resetted Charizard. So instead, originally, Charizard was going to have the Choice Band and have a mixed set with Earthquake, Rock Slide, Aerial Ace, and Overheat. And my Swampert was going to have the Pataya Berry for Torrent boosted Surfs. But eventually, I ended up switching items and switching sets. But my third iteration of Charizard ended up being Flamethrower, Dragon Claw, Protect, and some random fourth move that really wasn't useful. And with the Pataya Berry, I really wanted to make use of it because of how hard it was to get. I used the Ruby and Sapphire Battle Tower glitch to get this item, which is only exclusive to Coliseum and XD and distribution events. But a lot of you guys have suggested different moves to help this build for my Charizard. One of them being Protect and eventually Substitute. Now, Substitute, it really carried this Battle Tower streak because it allowed me to safely set up the Pataya Berry and get a Berry boosted, Blaze boosted, Stab boosted Flamethrower on my Charizard that let me one-shot so many Pokemon that otherwise would be impossible to take down effectively. But I still found myself with a fourth move slot that wasn't being used at all. Some of you recommended stuff like Aerial Ace, which is nice to hit stuff like Ludicolo or double teaming Blissies or Chanseys. But my Venusaur can outstall those, so I didn't think to use Aerial Ace since Charizard has no attack investment. It's full special attack and speed. Then someone recommended Brick Break. Brick Break would have let me hit Chansey and Blissey super effectively, but the problem is it still wouldn't do enough damage every turn. And my first run did into a Flash Fire Houndoom, which I couldn't touch, but I knew I needed a fighting type move at least on this Charizard to do significant damage, and that's when I realized I have Substitute on Charizard, and one of the best moves to synergize with Substitute is Focus Punch. So I gave it a chance, and Focus Punch has really been very good on this Charizard because even with no attack investment, just the high base power of Focus Punch pushes its damage output over a certain threshold that lets me 2-shot or 3-shot any Pokemon that would pose threats like Houndoom, Blissey, and Chansey. And I'm glad that I finally found a useful fourth move. Otherwise, Charizard wouldn't be as good as it turned out being. And then again, Swampert, It's a pretty straightforward choice band set with that one ice move for utility. Um, but besides that, my Pokemon, they synergize really well with each other. They switch in from each other to cover their weaknesses, and I never really find myself not having an answer to a lot of things because of just how well this team synergizes. Um, Charizard is my fast cleanup attacker, or it's my sweeper if I'm able to set up properly and not get taken out by priority moves. Um, Venusaur is my wall that lets me outlive everything, and Swampert, it's just my wall breaker slash tank as well. Um, a lot of them have pretty unfavorable natures or IVs, and that's because I just shiny hunted them, and I didn't think to RNG manipulate to get optimal Pokemon because one, I don't have a way to do that because I'm just recording off of a phone and recording my GBA, and two, I don't know a lot about RNG manipulation to even do it properly. So probably in the future, when I have better equipment and more knowledge, I will look into RNG manipulation for optimal shinies for future Frontier runs. But right now, I'm just using what I could get with my limited resources. Um, Stuff I would do differently though. Honestly, the only thing I can think of is using better Pokemon um, instead of what I used. And what I mean is better alternatives. Like, for example, Swampert and Venusaur, they can't tank psychic moves pretty well because of their pretty bad IVs and their typing. Swampert gets two-shot by most psychics in the battle tower, at least my Swampert. Venusaur almost always gets one-shot by psychic moves, so I'd probably have like a dark type in this team, probably a Houndoom to replace Charizard and help with my psychic weakness, or instead of Swampert, probably like a Quagsire to be completely immune to explosion or self-destruct because of the damp ability. And instead of Venusaur, while Venusaur has done amazing, probably another wall like Blissey or Chansey, stuff like that. Honestly, my current team I think is perfect, but if I were to do stuff differently, I'd probably just pick better alternatives. Um, but I'm really happy with the way this team has performed and how far it's taken me. Um, like I did mention before, my team is very weak to psychic type Pokemon because they cannot tank any psychic moves effectively, or if I do switch into a psychic move, it's a two-shot for Charizard or Swampert. Um, Threats that I have run into being Slowbro and Slowking because they're also water type and they're super effective on Charizard. Stuff like Starmie, which outspeeds my entire team and hits everybody super effectively or just two shots. Stuff like Jinx, which can put my team to sleep or just hits most of my Pokemon for super effective damage or really high damage. The Lottie twins, while I didn't encounter almost any, the ones I did posed huge threats because I had no way of effectively taking them out. I couldn't two-shot them. I couldn't set up on them properly because of stuff like Recover or Calm Mind. So I'm glad I didn't run into many, but the ones that I did run into were immense problems. So a dark type would have been pretty helpful. I've also run into Gengar that outspeeds my whole team, and I have to be very careful to play around. But Gengar is another huge threat. And Pokemon with the Quick Claw. There were a lot of instances where my Charizard was completely set up with the Pataya Berry and it was in the red because of Substitute, which is honestly ideal for this setup. But Pokemon with Quick Claw, they didn't have priority moves, but they got priority because of their item, and those just ruined my setup and almost made me lose my streak a couple of times. But that was another huge threat, just Quick Claw users. Um, going forward, I do plan on playing around those things and having more immunities on my team. But for right now, um, I just want to focus on getting more shiny Pokemon that I want to use for the Frontier, because I still have several more I want to hunt down that I want to showcase in the Battle Frontier. Um, Going forward, I already have my second team fully trained up and ready to use in the Battle Tower. My goal is to also reach a streak of 100 or higher, but I really want to um, break my record that I set with this current team. With my new team, I want to, honestly, as ambitious as it sounds, get to at least 150 straight battles or 200 win streak. They're all going to be in the level 50 challenge, because one of my goals with all my shiny Pokemon is to make them all Ribbon Masters, and I need to uh, beat the Battle Tower with level 50 Pokemon to get a certain ribbon. But eventually, I'll probably do the open level challenge with a mix of Pokemon from all of my teams. But that's way down the line when I have more teams already trained up. Um, but yeah, this run has been very fun, and I have enjoyed using this team a lot. But for now, I will probably start getting ready for my next streak with my new team. So do look forward to that. And also, um, I am planning on taking on more Frontier facilities very soon. So you guys don't have to worry about getting bored with the Battle Tower. I did put out a poll a couple of weeks ago asking you guys which facility you would want to see me take on next or pretty soon. Um, if you haven't voted on that, please be sure to vote, because I will be looking at that pretty soon to determine which facility I will be taking on in the near future. Um, I really want to do the Battle Factory, but I'm going to save that for much later, mainly because I want to do that on stream. I've never streamed before, but I really want to capture it on stream just to, uh, I don't know, feel like it's high stakes. But I don't have anything else to share. So again, thank you guys for watching. Do look forward to more Battle Frontier content in 2 weeks. And this was our first victory. So thank you guys for coming along on this very challenging journey. And I can't wait to start the next streak. Again, thank you guys so much, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.